Welcome to the Mind of Mir with two-time UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir, Las Vegas headliner Mike Hammer, and joining us today, Jennifer Mir.
All right, guys. Hey, back for another episode of Mind of Mir. Alongside me, as always, my lifelong companion, Mrs. Mir.
I thought it was me.
No, not
Mike,
you.
you know, we'll see in a few years, but I mean, there's a lot of bottom game you're gonna have to figure out here.
I've paid my dues.
Oh, I'm done.
One thing about this episode now, though, is the first episode we've taped now that we've actually released an episode so far. I mean, not that, we're going through and things are getting mixed around and moved around, but as of right now, so far, the episodes we've shot, we've been kind of in the dark with no kind of, the only criticism we have is our own, and now we get to
We
actually,
suck.
we get to hear your guys' criticism. So
Yeah.
this might be the last
I'm
episode.
scared. I'm scared.
You guys see anything offhand on Instagram or social medias that you were like, oh, we got to fix this, fix that,
No, you know what's funny? We ourselves see what we like or don't like.
Our heads
like,
were too big.
We were bobbleheads the first time.
Yes, our
But,
heads are too big.
Yeah, so the first one would be good to listen to audio.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's in most things, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
I know that it's funny. Just the other day when we were talking about Bella was watching her matches over and over and over again. And that's something that I've done very few times because my mind is way more developed than what I'm able to actually perform. And so when I watch myself, I sit there and go, oh, look, I telegraphed that. I set that up. I can see what I'm about to throw there. Oh, my God, that was so far off. Wow, look how slow that was or how weak. Oh, the timing, God awful. And I'm like, I just ripped myself to pieces. And it just depresses the shit out of me. So I've had fights to this day that I've still never seen.
Oh,
I have ones that I've never seen because you don't let anybody. I'm like, not you won't let anyone watch them, but like if Frank walks into the room and the kids are playing the video game of him, or they're watching his fights, or they're watching anything, he turns around and walks out of the room. So there's fights I haven't seen since that you fought.
Just my personality. I've never been good at being the center of attention. As weird as that sounds to people I know, you're probably thinking, really? But being that guy and yeah, hey, I'm this guy. It's just not me. I think they're just things I've done in life that I love to do happen to put me in that position where I'm under the spotlight. But it's not the spotlight that in itself that I was searching for. That's not my gig. That's not my
So
thing.
here's what's interesting. So I do the show 5 nights a week, and I record video, and usually.
Have we explained yet? Guys at home, those that don't know, you do it for me all the time and set me up and go, okay, for those that don't know, I'm Frank's daughter or, for wife. For those at home, do you guys realize that, Mike actually is a very good comedian, magician, has a phenomenal show here in town in Vegas. How long have you been playing here now?
15 years in Vegas.
Wow.
It's such a good show.
It is a
Oh my
great
God,
show.
I could see it. I could go like every week. It's so funny.
And it's so cool because it's
Please
such
don't, though. So many comps. She brings 10 girls every time.
I know. I'm coming this weekend, and it's
How many
12
people does your room
girls.
hold?
We're about 150, 160.
Yeah, see, and I love that about that because it's so
intimate.
Yeah, and then because you play the crowd so well, you're so quick and clever and sharp on your feet to where,
It's so funny.
yeah, it's funny. The first time I actually went to the show, because that's what I do, because for those people at home, if you're that person who speaks up at a comedy show, you're braver than I am. Because here's the thing. The guy who has that mic, especially at your level, you got a headliner, his face is, if his name's out on the marquee, you might not want to piss them off because they have the mic and they're pretty good at that. And you do it 5 nights a week for 15 years. Somebody, they get a couple drunk, get a buzz, and they want to shoot the mouth off and get kind of crazy in the crowd to bring some attention to themselves. And you're going to get some attention.
Yeah.
But you're probably not going to like the rest of the night. You're going to go, you're going to sit in the bathroom afterwards and, probably rethink some choices you've made because you're so, in general, I think people that do that line of work, comedians, are sharp, quick-witted, but you are amongst
Thanks.
those quick-witted.
That's my style too. I'm very for the older people, Don Rickles sort of.
Yeah.
But what was funny was when you and Jennifer came the second time, not the first time, but the second time, I'm like, all right, I'm not picking on her this time because, Frank's looking at me. It was actually kind of funny. I always throw out some line, but I watch Frank first, look at his face first, and then I see what I could do. But
Well, actually, you messed with one of my friends. We was
messed-
fighting. A good friend of mine, Princey, Carl Prince from top team Manchester. He had a student was fighting there that not fighting there at your show, but he was competing in the UFC event
That week.
that weekend, and so he was there. And I remember you looking over at him and trying to feel him out and see if it was safe or not.
Well,
He was a great sport.
he's 185 pound. That's what he fights at, right? That's his weight. Ateba. Yeah. And
Atiba.
Tebow.
Atibo.
Tebow.
he is unbelievable. He's from originally like South Africa, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's solid.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I say
He hurts to
185,
train with.
yeah, he's probably 200
So
something.
he's
that-
215, probably about 8% body fat.
Yeah.
Now 205 to 215,
Sure.
depending, And even one of the first times he came to Vegas, I was, helping to coach, and there was a lack of bodies, so I got screwed and had to be a body, and just moving around with him, and he threw a kick, and I checked it. We didn't have shin guards on, and I put my leg down. And I mean, afterwards, I was like, "Holy shit, man! You're just solid. You just feel when he grabs you.
Yeah.
You just, and that's coming from me, which I'm not the most dainty individual in the world, but he is some guys are just built differently, and Tebow is built differently.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't know if I should pick on this guy or not. I mean, I know I'm going to do something. I just have to throw out some. I think what I did was I teased his coach first,
Yeah.
so I could see if
Yeah.
Atiba had a personality, has a sense of humor. But what concerned me was because he's also from Africa, so I didn't know if he'd get the humor. I know he lives in England now, but UK because he's training there. But I didn't know if he had a sense of humor. Like to understand, you have to understand the
Well, it's too,
language
just
to have a sense of
cultures
humor.
are different. People don't
Cultures are-
realize that
yeah.
unless you travel a lot, you don't realize how much it's like. Well, that's offensive here. That's not offensive. As simple as when I went to Russia. I remember the first couple of times I went.
No
I
sense
told
of humor.
Jennifer, I'm like, well, to the point to where I was actually kind of angry, almost getting in fights with people, because there, it's to smile at somebody. You don't smile at somebody. It would be the equivalent of you walking up and hugging a guy the first time you meet him, like a friend.
Oh, interesting.
That's very intimate. They're like, what? You don't show teeth. So like, if you and I meet for the first time,
Really?
you walk over, like, I don't show. If I were to smile and show teeth, that's amongst good friends. That's again equivalent to where you and I give each other a hug. And I pull you in. You would never introduce somebody and they come and grab you and pull you in and put an arm around you, right? That'd be a little too much too soon. That's how they view in their culture. Smiling and showing your teeth.
Oh, I would have been molested.
Well, they just look at you like you're crazy. They're like, "Hey, man, like you don't know me that well."
Oh, that's what it. I
yeah,
got
it's like
Yeah.
you're too. They're more standoffish than we are. I guess
Yeah.
the way to put it there. It's too much, too soon, too fast. So that be going along with what you're saying.
Wow, okay.
Here you're gonna tease somebody. You don't know their culture.
So I picked on his coach first, as you guys saw, and Atiba was laughing and getting it. There was a little delay, a slight delay. But he got it. I'm like, all right.
Well, you know where the delay came from?
Huh.
Because he looked over at Princey and he wanted to make sure his
Oh,
coach.
that he was laughing.
he was laughing.
yeah.
So then you see like
That's why.
because that's what he looked over and Princey laughed because you made a joke almost like gingers or something like that on that
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
And then here, Princey is a redhead, soulless ginger, and so. But obviously, no one makes fun of Princey better than Princey does.
Yeah.
He knows how to do that to where it's self-deprecating humor. It's like, hey, I'm going to get to the joke before you all, so that way I'm.
But
ahead.
he's no one to mess with either. I didn't realize that.
But
at
I
the
think
time.
out of respect, it's his coach,
Yeah.
So that is probably
And
why he
teammates,
did that.
and it shows he has a big heart. He's sensitive.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to laugh unless you're okay with it. Type scenario where some people are just dicks. They don't care.
This is funny though, because what Frank just said, you picked on something I didn't even. Right, he looked at his coach first, but here's what's really weird. How Frank, I always say Frank is so perceptive of everything around. You read the room very well. And it's funny how you looked at Atiba to see how he responded to his coach. All I was doing was watching him
Right.
to see if he was laughing. But just the fact that you looked to see the dynamics was interesting to me.
Right.
And Jennifer, you know it's coming because you've seen me enough times.
I'm just happy it's not me that you're
Right.
picking on. So I
funny
already
you
knew
say
it was
that.
coming.
And then it's so much about how the human mind works. And there are differences between the male mind and the female mind, right? As
There
far
is?
as, massively, right? Well, think about it. For a child to be successful, when they were being raised for the first few years of its life, dad's out hunting and slaying most of the time.
Yeah, Frank's still in the caveman days, just so you guys know. Go ahead.
So are all of us. We just our bodies don't realize it yet. That's why we have so many of the issues we have. So mom's home with a small infant that can't really communicate and speak. So women have to be very good at nonverbal communication.
The kid can't speak. I'm thinking the wife.
Well, as long as I'm
That's a dream. That's when Frank's dreaming.
I'm trying to work
at
that
night.
out.
That's a fantasy when when the wife can't talk.
So we are the descendants of mothers that were very good at nonverbal communication. And I always tell people, think about it. How many times my wife does it to me to this day. I could walk into a room and say, so what's going on? What happened? And I'm like, I haven't said a word. How the fuck do you know there's anything?
Oh.
They can just read you so well. And
Yeah.
there's parts of a woman's brain that are more developed and more, that are more attuned to processing nonverbal. So that being said, I fall back. It is what it is, so they're better at it than we are. Okay.
Yeah.
I take advantage of it. You know how many times I've been out at meetings or I meet people, and even though I read rooms and I read things, as far as reading people's character, I'm not as good at it, nowhere even near as she is. Now, I think she's better at it than even most women, but I think in general, women are better at reading a person's character better than a man is.
Sure.
Because it's also too, it's not like she could fight to save her ass if she's wrong, on average. Women are, the weaker physically, the two sexes. So they have to be more spot on reading people. Plus, because again, raising children. So it used to drive me nuts. I would sit there and Jennifer would go, yeah, that guy, he's a piece of shit. I'm like, what? No, he's not. Hold on, babe. To the point where we'd have arguments. Because me, I'm like, okay, well, tell me what happened, what he said. Like I told you right now. Tebow paid attention to Princey because when you made the joke, he looked over and he read him. See how I can explain to you why I came to the conclusion I came to.
There's a hierarchy.
Jennifer, it's intuition. There are parts of her brain that she's not understanding how it's working. So she doesn't able to articulate why she knows that guy's a scumbag, but she's like, I just know he is. And it drives me nuts. But here's the part. It's 100 for 100. I mean, it's spot on every time. Every time I've gone, no, really? I've stopped fighting about it now. It's one of those things where, like your dog doesn't like somebody.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wait, how come my dog, the dog doesn't like it? Just me. That says something.
Yeah.
Where children and small animals, or small children and animals don't like you, or they're wary of a person, that's usually a sign. Whereas my wife, I've just read into it. So we'll be out at meet people the first time, and so if anybody goes out and eats lunch with me for a business meeting, and you wonder why I'm staring at my wife, I'm reading her reads you. I'm like, hey, so are we wasting our time here? Is this person a piece of shit? Are they going to screw me over? Like, what's going on here? And I'm looking at her, and if I see her check out, I check out. All right, cool.
This is such a funny scenario for a couple reasons. We were sitting in a restaurant a week ago, and I said to Frank, where do you want to sit? Because there were two sides you could sit at. And one was facing the door. One wasn't facing the door, but it was facing the room. Frank likes to, for those that don't know, he's on high alert 24/7. And he's got to know what's going on in front of him, behind him. But in the way we were seated, I said, is this booth okay? Because there could have been something going on behind him. And I'm thinking, how's he comfortable? And you know what he says? He goes, well, I'm going to watch your eyes. To me, he says, because you were sitting next to him. He goes, I'll just see your eyes, because he knows I'm aware. You're not going to do that if it's just anybody.
Right.
And he goes, I know you're aware, so I'll look at your eyes. And I go, so you're going to look at me and know to get up and turn around and shoot someone? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's that comfortable in that scenario is really interesting. But what's even more interesting is what I just heard here with you, Jennifer. Do you realize you've actually helped Frank be more secure because he trusts your instinct? Like, I don't know if you're aware of that, because I'm hearing it for the first time.
I never thought it actually articulated that way. It's true.
Because he's
I've
looking
thought
to
about it.
you
Yeah.
for these, like, if he's in a meeting or a new person enters a group or something,
Yeah.
he, like, actually looks at you
Yeah.
for the guidance, because he's using you as a tool, not in a negative way.
Well, actually, I guess one impressive way to articulate it, and you'll understand it better than even probably at home, the people are going to understand the significance of that statement. It's one of the few times I'll suspend my logic.
Oh, wow.
There's not many times that I'll sit there and I throw science and logic and my intelligence. I'll sit there and go, I'm not going to use that as mine.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll use faith right now.
Yeah.
That's one of the few times I'll ever do that or have trust in something to
Yeah.
where I sit there and go, okay, well, I don't see the logic behind it. I'll suspend my logic and I will I'll close my eyes. I have faith in you.
But that's a lot. I mean, do you ever realize that? Do you know that?
I actually do know that. I mean,
Of
he
course,
says
'cause
it all
your
the
intuition-
time.
Oh, he does.
I mean, we've been together 24 years, so
Wow,
he
okay.
always tells me that. You're the only person I fully 100% trust in my life. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I'm two sides of that because one, trust you with your behavior towards me, but also my trust of your instinct, which then,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
It's the
because your
main thing.
instinct doesn't have, again, because there's times you're not able to explain how, what's going on, all the articulations of what's going on in your subconscious that's allowing you to read things in this person for you to be able to get there and go, yeah, they're good, they're bad. And for you to always be fucking on. We had one time a manager that she was dead on, like, Frank, this guy is screwing us over.
I said he's stealing from us.
And I was like, babe, no way. So she got frustrated with me because I needed proof. And she did. She went ahead and what she did was she separated the bank accounts. And anything this manager had done for us or any sponsor, any money went to the one bank account. She didn't touch it. And she kept, and then she had a notepad because my wife doesn't do things on the phone. She is even to this day, we don't even do automated bills. She wants to write a check.
Write everything out.
She writes everything. She has notebooks. So she's a handwritten type of individual. So here all of a sudden, 2 or 3 months later, I don't remember the amount of time she did her investigation, but I got the notebook on the table and boom. All right.
It was a folder with all of the bank statements. And I'm like, look it. I told you he's stealing from us. And Frank, and I threw the pad or the folder on the bed. And I was like, it's either him or me. One of us is going because I can't sit by and watch
me, you know?
someone rob you. Like or us. I can't.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, it's him or me. Yeah.
$186,000 in the 1 year that.
Yeah. I
Oh, you
was
could
like,
tell? I mean, you.
I
oh my
knew.
God.
Yeah. I
He
knew.
did a lot of like,
Yeah, shady stuff.
here, we're paying you for this. Well, what about that money? Well, but remember when I gave you this, that was for that. But what about that? No, that was this money over here.
That's why I opened
There was so much just, almost like I gave him a pinochle.
That's why I just opened a separate account. So I was like, anything that he puts into our account, it's just sitting there.
So you'll know.
So at the end of the 6 months, he's like, oh no, I've given you like blah, 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 blah. I didn't touch the money. It just sat there. So I'm like, no, dude, you're like $186,000 short.
Wow.
Actually,
Yeah.
and then
he
she did
insulted me. Yeah. He sent Frank an email and he was
because
insulted. She's not
first-
even college educated. You just insulted me. You're listening to her. It was awful. Yeah.
To give more detail, what happened? So she puts the notebook down. Hey, so now I'm looking at it, and obviously I'm like, wow, okay, like fuck, it's black and white shit. So I call up the person. I go, hey, we have some problems here. I'm looking at this. Jennifer's written out a notebook from this date to this date. It says here that you said that I got this amount. It's showing that I got this amount. Please call me up so we can figure out what's going on. Like, and even then, I didn't attack him.
Yeah.
Going, hey, you motherfucker. I was like, hey, obviously, why are these not adding up? Please call me up so we can figure this out. Because what I'm looking at from what my wife gave me, there's nothing to be confused about. It seems pretty, it's spot on.
Sure.
Why don't you tell me why this looks the way it looks? And then that's when no phone call back, but a text that we never spoke to after that. Anyways,
A text.
it was.
I think it was an email. It was an
might have
email.
been an
It
email,
was
but
an
it
email.
was written down.
We still have it was an email.
It was written down basically, so I got to read it, and I'm like, "You're not gonna call me back and speak to me, or try, I get not meet me up, but at least
Yeah.
But the message was that like, hey, I know this might be hard for her to understand, and I'll explain it in simple terms, and basically trying to toe the line to be as much of like,
She's not
look,
even-
dumb fuck, you're not even called,
Yeah, she's not even college educated.
Which means
is she a
nothing.
math major? Like he just
Which means nothing.
This
These
is
things
a
are hard to understand. and
Yeah.
I'll make sure when I'll be in Vegas here in 2 weeks, and I'll go
We'll
through
talk
this.
it out,
We'll
yeah.
walk you through. I'll hold your hand basically and
yeah.
walk you through.
this is the kind of stuff that like Bella, she's so lucky. She'll never really know what it was like what you have to go through when you just when Frank started fighting, you just trust people. You listen to what they're saying. How many times you get screwed over as an athlete by everybody around you, trainers, managers, like Bella. Because with him, he was having the checks be made out to Frank. He was cashing them. And then only giving part of the money. So then even like with the IRS, they're like, you didn't claim everything you earned. It's like, wait, what?
He did have some of the checks, so he did that, and then started having checks written to him. So hey, I'm the manager. Write them to me. I'll take out the percentage. So then I'm not seeing contracts, and at the time, that was in my 20s. I still was under the wrong mindset of, which I think a lot of us do, and I still do to a point where you kind of think people are going to treat you the way you would treat them. I just like, think how many times you said in life, you're like, well, I wouldn't do that to you.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to money. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned in 24 years. When it comes to money, I trust him. Yeah. That's who I trust. And so like with Bella, we manage her, me and her dad, because we're not going to take anything from, nobody wants more or better for Bella than her parents do. Yeah. So we are going to manage Bella. We're going to be in control of Bella, and she will just be protected so much by having us.
To add to that, it's not even just so much about being greedy. People will, because they get a percentage and they don't get the deal that they want because they're not going to make that money, they'll sink the deal. It's like, wait a minute, like I had that going on, I was there, but because you wanted more for yourself here, so now I got fucked too. Like, wait a minute, like,
because a lot of managers, that's another thing. Bella's our only client. She'll only always be our client. You know what I mean? So like other managers, what they'll do, like let's say.
What about that other girl that you want to get to fight for you?
Yes, she might be another one too. Reese. Yep. What they'll do is if I'm a manager and I have 20 fighters, I say, okay, you want Frank, but you got to take these two people too. Yeah. Right? You take your celebrity, your star, and they want them, but then you're like, well, you can't have him unless you take these people also.
So
well, some people
good to those athletes. So now you're quantifying your job as a manager. Plus now you're making a percentage off of what they're getting.
But a lot of times, some companies don't do that.
I can
right?
tell you how many times.
Yes, so you get screwed. It's just it's such
Here's how the phone call goes. Hey man. You really wanted to work with you? I'm like, yeah, what happened? Like, I guess you said you didn't want to do it. Like, no. Well, I mean, I thought we would do it for 10, 20, but then your manager came along and asked for 40, and I had to go ahead and take these three guys also, and I had to agree to 3 other visits with them. I'm like, it was just too much. Yeah. So then I got toasted in the whole deal. I'm like, wait a minute.
So then you get nothing.
Trying to help raise all tides, right? Ships rising the tide. But
they use your name.
But you're like, I'm getting fucked in the deal now because like. I opened the door, but now they slam the door on all of us. Like I get, hey, try to bring some people, but if that's going to break the deal, then okay, sorry. Hey, okay, we're back to just Frank now,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's with Bella, we're just keeping it a family affair. It's a family business, I mean, it just we don't need anybody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we all have a good relationship. She has a good relationship with Dana in the UFC. She just, You don't have to have a manager, and I mean anything that it requires.
And we have people in our lives too there now that when they realize they're more agents. Yeah. That's really what athletes and for those at home that are fighters, you're going to get paid what you're going to get paid from the UFC. Trust me. There's nobody I know manager wise. I mean, look at what's going on with John right now.
That's getting
you're
more
getting paid what you're getting paid, right? Dana knows what he's going to give you, and you might justify a thing here or there and move that needle ever so slightly. But I guarantee you it's never going to be enough to make up for the percentage that you're probably paying that manager.
100%.
Now, that money was coming to you anyways, but you just gave it up. So really, it's a loss.
Yeah.
So what I say is like, hey, the fight money is the fight money. It's your money. You know what I mean? Maybe you pay a one-time fee to a lawyer that can help read a legal document so you understand some of the language that's going on there. Yes, but
you understand what you're signing.
But you're paying $500 an hour there, not a percentage of hundreds of thousands of dollars. An agent to get you sponsorships, commercials, movie deals.
Bring
me money.
Yes,
bring me opportunities to do Gatorade or Nike or whoever. And then you get a percentage of what you bring me. Well, now you got to work for your money.
Yeah.
Whereas just take a percentage of the fight money. It's like, okay, cool. So you walked in with me the one time and I negotiated a contract that really, that was the money they were going to give me anyways. And now for the next 6 fights.
10 fight. Yeah, like for you, like Frank, there were times it was like a 6-fight deal, a 10-fight deal. So you're like, so you negotiated this one-time amount, but for the next 10 fights, I have to give you 10 or 20%.
And if you weren't there,
that doesn't even make any sense.
really, how much more did that manager ever get?
Yeah.
You walked in, there's Dana White, and Dana in his brain is looking at you going, all right, you're a $100,000 fight guy.
Yeah.
Do you think that the manager is getting you 120 plus?
Right,
So that now he can justify, hey, if it wasn't for me, now I justified getting a percentage and got you extra. Otherwise, it's like, well, I probably got out of there at 105. I'm like, yeah, and I'm paying you 50. Wow, okay, hold on a second now. This isn't cool. I actually lost money.
It is a perfect thing that you said. I mean, look at John Jones. Look at the top fighters. Look at Francis Ngannou, John Jones, fighters that left the UFC that. I mean, what were the managers doing? I mean, it's like the UFC, 100%. They're going to pay you what they're going to pay you. If I've not learned anything, I know that.
Yeah.
So they're going to pay you what they're going to pay you, and it just it's just no.
Well,
yeah,
I
Bella.
think a lot of fighters have a hard time too understanding really what fighting in that aspect. When it comes to the payday, when it comes to what you get paid as a fighter, you're an entertainer. And I can't tell you how many fighters, there's guys that are veterans who've been fighting in the UFC before I even got to the UFC, that still to this day have said, well, wait a minute, that guy's getting paid more money than me. I beat him the last time we met up. I'm like, you really think that's what quantifies your paycheck? It's entertainment. It's anything else. If you fill the room up with bodies, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
If people aren't watching you, I don't give a shit if you're 100-0 and no one makes it 30 seconds and you are a highlight reel of knockouts. If I go, hey, okay, I'm bringing that guy down, and it's crickets, and your pay-per-view doesn't sell shit. I mean, look at Mighty Mouse, one of the greatest martial artists of all
sell
time.
tickets.
DJ, yeah.
Right? Great martial artist, phenomenal. Very few people ever. I mean, he's in everybody. If he's not in your top 3, then you don't know the sport that well. Right. So you can argue that maybe this guy might have been a little bit better than him here or there, but hey, he's recognized a phenomenal
He is a goat,
martial
for sure.
artist.
Right.
Right. One of the lowest paid guys ever.
Right.
Because again, and I understand why. I fought one time on a card with him. That card that I fought with him on, that he headlined, and I was a co-main event, was the lowest pay-per-view card I've ever been on.
It's the weight, though, too. A lot of people didn't like the weight. Now they understand.
But see, though, but again, it goes to that factor. Whatever the cause may be.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He
The
didn't
entertainment.
sell.
Right.
His great martial arts ability, the fact that he was 14-0 in a row as far as title defenses, whatever records he had, established his ability as a martial art. As a fighter, he was established and he was great. That didn't make it to the bank. That did not, see what I mean? It didn't leverage there.
Right.
There could not be a better example of a guy who, hey, great martial artist, but again, what do you sell ticket-wise?
Right.
Then you have CM Punk, his first fight ever.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He made more money than, do you see what I mean? But like, well, and guess what? That
Look at
makes sense
Brock.
to me.
Yeah.
I mean, Brock
made
he made more money than you did that night for sure. But I mean,
But he was such a name.
he was massive.
Yeah.
You've never seen me ever argue or ever bring up the fact that Brock got paid more than I did.
Yeah.
And now here I'm going, I'm a former champ. There's guys in my position who go, I'm a former champion. What the hell? Guys, if right now you set up an arena over on the north side of the street and Brock went over there and I went on the south side of the street and we set up that night autograph signing, I have there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to have a line going all around the building before mine.
Yeah.
He's a bigger draw. If tomorrow night I fought Brad Pitt, he's going to get paid more money than I do because he's a bigger draw. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Frank,
that's
we
the
don't-
aspect.
What's the first rule about Fight Club, Frank?
If he shows up in that kind of shape, man.
See, he was actually pretty small. I think he was pretty light, but he looked fit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a
Pitt.
little guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what is he? I think he's 5'9", right? 5'9".
I'd have to look. I'd have to look it up.
I bet you he's 5'9", 155, but then he was sub 10
I don't-
body
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look it up.
My friend asked me, actually, I had
How tall are you?
I'm really tall, 5'7". I'm out of your weight category.
Well, see, he looked longer than that as far as his limbs.
Yeah, he did look. He looked very lean, and he was cut. But I think he naturally had those genetics as well.
Wide shoulders, narrow hips.
Yeah. But when we go back and look at him now, like if you look at a photo now, it's a little different because times have changed now. So people, I guess it's because we're spoiled with Instagram and things like that, where people look different because they're using, the Photoshop.
Well, and the movies too. That's not even what the guy really looks like. It's CGI.
Camera, the way, yeah.
Those aren't his muscles.
But one of my friends asked a question though. He said, when I see Frank, ask him. And I only mentioned it because you talked about Brock.
Okay.
Let me give you a background real quick on this guy. It's right up Frank's alley. This guy. It's a friend of mine I grew up with, Mike DiDomenico. You wouldn't know him, but ever since we're kids, he studied martial arts, taekwondo, and all things and stuff like that. He's out of Chicago, but he liked fighting. Like he just liked regular fighting, not sanctioned fighting. Just fighting. And this guy, this kids one time, because he had a short fuse. These kids one time, they threw eggs at his car, and they egged his car while he was driving. So they all took off. He stops the car. He gets out and he caught one of the guys, just one of them, and all his friends ran. He says to the guy, he goes, lift up your hand. I'm going to break one of your fingers. Let me know which one, and you can show your friends what happens when someone throws eggs at a car. And I'm like, dude, you're nuts. And he's like, yeah, he's nuts. And he's like, and I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. And I go, you gave him a choice which finger? He goes, yeah, because I wanted him to have to pick and suffer and know what's coming. And I'm like,
I love the wow, the psychology. Yes, he knows. Yeah. He understands.
That's it. Frank. So he says, your friends will know never to do this again. And the guy's like crying and screaming. He goes, hold up your finger or it's going to be worse. He goes, I'm just going to break your finger, dude. That's it, And he's like reasoning with the guy. And the guy. And
I don't know if I agree with his friends. Will know not to do it anymore because people aren't really good at that. But as far as the anticipation of having to pick, it's always the anticipation beforehand.
Yeah.
That creates the greatest amount of suffering.
Oh, yeah.
The unknown,
And he's saying it calm, too, that he's telling me. He's not like psycho. Like, he's nuts, but he's not saying it like, hold up your finger. I'm going to, it's just calm. The way you would probably say something, And so the guy holds up his finger. He breaks his finger. I'm like, oh, my God, you're crazy. And he sent the guy on his way. But this is the guy that
Did he break his finger?
Yeah, he did.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my!
And I said to him, I said, "You're nuts." And he goes, "It's just a finger."
Oh my God!
That was over 5 years ago, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're good then. Yeah.
Well,
why?
Well. This is like
so
literally
they can't come back.
This is 25 years ago.
Oh,
good. Okay,
more than good.
Yeah,
okay.
He's not like that now. I mean, he wouldn't tell.
Well,
me.
not that. Just as far as anybody,
if they can go back and sue him.
You can't now. It's beyond. There's no criminal charges brought up.
Well, this guy's nuts too. There was a guy that was bigger than, and he's a pretty big guy, but there was a guy twice his size, really big at the time. The guy was doing steroids, and plus the age gap was different. I think he was 20 and his friend was like 30 and big, and his friend over some kind of mishap was threatening to kick his ass. He goes, I'm gonna kill you, but he's like got roid rage at the time. He's telling my friend, and my friend was like scared shitless, and I'm like, really, what'd you do? And he says, meet me at the McDonald's. I'll talk to you in public. He figured that way, if it goes down really bad, at least it's sort of in public. And I go, but he was willing to fight the guy no matter what, he said. And I go, really? He goes, well, I don't want him tracking me down when I'm not expecting it. At least at a McDonald's, I'll see him there. And I think he had brass knuckles on him and whatever. So he's
always looking over his shoulder. He might as well come to a head now. Let's
Yeah, that's what he said. So the guy shows up to McDonald's. He goes to the guy. My friend literally said to the guy, and he was scared, even though he could fight. This guy was still big. And he goes, all right, let's do this. And the guy started crying. And he actually backed out. He goes, I don't want to do this. We're friends, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you kidding? And my friend's like, yeah. And I think he just thought my friend was nuts to show up, and he didn't. I don't know what happened, to be honest with you.
A lot of people, especially if you're a big, strong, ferocious-looking guy, most of the time those guys are the biggest pussies because they don't have to fight. They're not used to dealing with adversity because, it's always like, how many people attack lions? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you're a lion. He just has to stand there and look at you like, oh shit, fuck that. Now, rats are way tougher because who wouldn't want to stomp? The rat pisses you off, it's in your way, you're gonna kick. You have no fear of attacking it, so they have to be way tougher. So there's individuals, and I always say that usually, stereotypically, smaller guys that are not very intimidating to look at end up being tougher because they have to fight a lot more.
Yeah.
They have to defend themselves.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that here's a lesson that I wish people would understand a lot more. Too many men back out of fights because they do the math in their head and they think they might lose. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Really, that has nothing to do with if the call to arms comes and you're having an argument with somebody and the situation now calls for violence and you have to fight, whether you can win or not is not any part of that equation.
Yeah.
Because you have to fight. If it's time to fight, that's the important aspect that so many guys don't understand. They go there and go, well, I mean, I was going to lose. I'm like, so what? Guess what? I've been in fights where I was outnumbered and I haven't won one of those yet. Okay. And some of them ended up pretty bad. That's why I carry the amount of knives and guns I do, is because of a situation that happened when I was younger. I was outnumbered. To this day, I wouldn't have handled myself any differently. I wouldn't have backed down. There was the call to arms came. I was in the right.
Yeah.
We're throwing down. I was massively outnumbered. I don't give a shit. We're fighting. You know what I mean? Like someone's going with me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the only one going to the morgue or the hospital,
Yeah.
That mindset has to be there because then you establish kind of like what your friend said earlier.
Yeah.
I want to make sure not to fuck with me. Not to touch.
Yeah.
Because if you are the type of person who turns tail and puts your, because the situation is scary or that guy might beat you and, whoa, shit, now you're in trouble because other predators might smell that.
Yeah.
And if they detect that about you, that you're willing to back down, that's scary. The guy that they'll avoid is the guy that's like, hey, so-and-so, if you go fuck with him or take his lunch, he's fighting you. Okay, I don't want to deal with that. Because a predator doesn't want to deal with somebody who's going to fight back. Even whether they beat you or not, it's like, that's not what I want. I want an easy victory. I want to go ahead and take advantage of somebody. I want your shit. So predators don't want people that fight. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it helps to win,
Yeah.
but that can't be the reason why you back down. You can, if a situation calls for violence and it's the right thing to do to stand up for yourself, you must stand up for yourself, regardless if you win or lose or not.
It's funny because I had a guy that worked for me, and he studied martial arts. He's telling me he's a kid though. He was 21 years old, and he studied martial arts for 12 years. And he's telling me, he's all talking about, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And I said to him, have you ever actually been in a fight outside of the gym? And we're sitting down eating, one time after the show. And and the only reason I bring this up is he was saying to me, as his boss, he goes, oh, I'd kill you in a fight. He says to me, he goes, oh, I'd kill you. Because he's bigger than me, but not, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I go, let's go
He
eat.
needs you to believe that so he can believe that. Makes him feel better.
Probably.
Well, that's how people's works, right?
Yeah, that is
Well,
true.
we went down and we ate afterward, but he was always saying this. Right. No, you're right, probably. And then we sat down and I said,
So insecure.
yeah. And here I'm at 50 years old and here's someone 21 years old. So I'm sitting down talking to him and I go, have you ever been in a fight outside of the gym? And he goes, no, but I know I could do this and I could do that. And I go, well, I have, and I'm just going to let you know right now, I said, there's a difference between your training and actual violence. And I said, I've been in situations where there's violence involved. And I said, do you think I'm going to stand around and spar with you? I go, I'm 50. I go, unfortunately, you're going to lose an eye or you're not going to be able to breathe. I go, because I'm not going to stand around and spar. I go, you're going to get hit in the throat either really bad or the eye. And depending on how I hit you in the throat, you're never going to speak again or you are. Because you can hit people different ways. You know this. And so I'm like, that's what violence is. Because if you're telling me you've got all this training, well, I'm not going to go train. I'm not going to combat my skills with yours. I don't know what your skills are. All I know is I've been in a position before where I have gotten beat up and in positions where I haven't. And I just know what I need to do.
It's almost kind of like with guns, right? You can go shooting all the time, but now you're held at gunpoint and they're trying to rob you or hurt you and you have a gun on you. You're not, you know what I mean? You're going to be,
use it
how
or
are you
not?
going to use it? Like you might go shooting and be amazing, but now you have the stress, being scared, like, you know, caught off guard. Frank's, oh my gosh, he's so big on that all the time with
The stress.
me and the kids. The stress of, you know, you don't understand if you're in that position, the stress, you're not going to be able to, you know, hold the gun the right way. You're not going to, you know, you're not in a quiet room at a gun range.
Where you have a second to think.
Where you have
aim
a
at the
second to
target,
think. There is no second to think.
Well, that's why you try to make your training as close to the real thing as possible.
Yeah.
Within the realms of not being maimed afterwards. But you realizing that, hey, when the shit hits the fan, I need to make it to where my training is close to that bridge. You know, I'm able to bridge the two together as close as possible so that when it occurs, there's not that much of a drop in performance. It'd be like, you know, it'd be like a football player. Could you imagine if you're in the NFL and all we ever do is flag football? It's close.
Oh my gosh.
You're a wide receiver and you just train flag football. And then it's like, hey, so when are we going to put the pads on? Well, Sunday. I'm like, mean Sunday game day? We're going to put pads on then? Yeah. That's the first time we're wearing pads. Yeah. I'm like, oof. Okay. I mean, you'll probably do better than a person who's never even played flag football and not worn pads.
Right.
But shit, this is going to hurt. You know what I mean? Like, wow, you know, it's going to be an eye-opening experience. So you want to make it to where it's as close to as possible. You're training and absolutely right. The mindset behind that Earn the kids now understand. And, you know, we make our training. If we ever go shooting together, I'll show you push-ups, jumping around, do things that once you build up to a certain skill level, that, hey, let's get you tired and freak out and get your adrenaline to dump. Now let's see how well you shoot. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to grab your belt from behind and start yanking you around. And now let's see if you can hit the target down the range, you know, and see all those things, and start adding those implements of chaos.
Yeah. Well, I might have told you one time, but the guy that trained me in shooting that's taken me around, a former Marine, great guy. And you should go with us sometime because he does his name is Jason Brooks, but he does like outside, like I guess like tactile shooting, like
tactical,
where he'll, you know, here's some objects to go around,
like you're behind a wall, and then you're
we'd be behind like a barrel, but that stuff is really unique. It's very different.
I like it too, especially if you put metal plates, you know, because then you know. I like that, and a lot of guys I shoot
with the metal plates. What?
Because the plates, you hit them as you knock them down.
Oh yeah.
So you can set the plates up.
Sure.
You know, and not a paper target, and you're like, did I hit it? Did I not?
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah.
That's the one thing they say. Oh, you know what? Then you're gonna get used to. They say that I'm gonna develop a bad habit of
hearing
looking
ding versus
for the ding. It's like I don't know that. You know.
Well, by that time it's too late anyway, right?
Maybe I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I'm hearing on that, but to shoot, move, and communicate, and running around obstacles and having different. You know, first you learn how to walk. You know, first stand, then walk.
Do you know what is interesting? He was showing me this when we were training. It was really interesting. He was showing me how to walk backwards and shoot, and I go, how? Like, I don't understand. What's this about? He goes, you could trip on something, and when you walk back, you're not walking in big steps. You're like kind of gliding your feet so that you
almost moonwalking.
Almost moonwalking, yeah. And I'm like, it seems weird until he explains the concept of it. And you want to glide because you trip or hit something you didn't expect. Now you could flinch. Anything could go wrong, you know. So all these little things like what you were saying.
What I do is I drive my foot back. So like if I'm going to walk backwards and my right foot steps, my weight goes to my left leg. My right foot steps
That's
back,
what he is having.
Slides.
Yeah, okay.
So if I hit something, all my weight's still on my lead foot.
Yeah.
I mean, and then now once I'm there. I didn't go down a step. I didn't hit nothing. Now my weight goes to my right foot, and now my left foot can slide back and look and feel out for what's going on. And you're shuffling backwards.
It's so interesting. But he was saying, and I forgot why I started. Oh, I brought this up because he was talking about how I might. Oh yeah, we were going training, and one morning I was up all night just working, and I was exhausted. And I texted him and I said, dude, I'm so tired. I can't go shooting now. And he goes, that's when he said, if someone comes and breaks in your house, are you going to tell them you're too tired? He goes, get your ass up. We're shooting. He goes, this is when you need to train. And I actually shot pretty good. I think because I was more relaxed because I was kind of, you know, tired. But people don't realize when you train for shooting, you get tired. I don't know if you still do, but you get tired mentally and then physically. It's a lot of thought. I mean, to me, it is.
Anything that has a lot of thought behind it is usually very fatiguing. I try to explain that to people. My wife now understands. I remember now that she's doing things and it's a step in the same role I am. And we'll come home after the podcast. She goes, I'm tired. I'm like, see, I told you this shit was rough, you know, because your brain is only about 3% of your body weight, right?
Okay.
It consumes about 25% of the calories that you eat. Our brain is very energy consuming.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking or you're moving around, so when you do a lot of talking, when I do seminars, when I get done, I'm like, ugh. You're like, dude, you just spoke for 3 hours. I'm
Yeah.
like, I know, that's just rough. So again, when you do shooting, absolutely.
But I thought I was tired because of the physical aspect of the shooting, but it's not that.
Unless
It's
you're so spot on
thinking
mentally.
about
brain.
everything.
And and this guy makes you. It's not like I'm choosing on my own to go to the shooting range and sit there and just aim, and where it's maybe more relaxing. But I'm listening to him, and he's like, "Okay, get in the back of the truck here, sit from the back of the truck." I'm like, "How is this ever going to happen to me?" And he's like, "You don't know.
You
I'm like,
don't know.
"Okay."
Yeah, you don't know.
But even so, like Frank always says, but at least it always it
do
prepares you even if you never use it. It's still an exercise for your body, your mind. It still has benefits overall.
Oh, absolutely. That's
Yeah.
why even martial arts.
Yeah.
If my training was only to beat up a guy in a fight right now, what a waste of time. I've spent thousands and thousands of hours training my body, my mind, my spirit in martial arts. And if it's for the amount of hours I spent for a 30-second fight would be the most ridiculous, time-consuming, like, what are you doing?
Plus, Frank can't even fight anymore because they'll sue him or it's on video.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like he trained all this because a lot of people look and they're like, God, I wish I could be him. No one's gonna fuck with you. It's actually the opposite. People may fuck with you, and you have to be the bigger man and a lot of times walk away. Now, not that you're not going to if you'll do what you have to do,
the
obviously.
situation calls for it. But no, because of all the things that I draw from it. That's why I
Look
make
at
my
you,
kids
listen.
in martial arts.
Yeah.
Because of it's not just fighting somebody,
Yeah.
And then talking about the mindset of being in self-defense. That's why too many times people sit there and they have these thoughts and they repeat shit that other people say. And I'm like, have you put that in practice yet? Have you actually ran that through? Have you actually tried this? Well, no. I'm like, so you're just repeating what somebody else said and it sounded cool, so you kept it. And look, I still have things in my mind I'm 100% sure that I do that I'm repeating from somebody else, but I always try to use critical thinking as much as I can to evaluate the decisions I make and that the choices that I'm making in life. So, for example, in self-defense aspect is we all are very big on blades, right? I know I make people joke. I carry more knives than I really ever need on me because it's more jewelry for me. It's more collecting. It's more, I enjoy
You do
it.
collect,
I'm almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
a cosplay guy.
Right.
Now, there is 2 or 3 knives on me that the specific purpose are to make sure I can get you off of me and maybe adjust how well you breathe in life. I make all my kids in life from day one carry it. And I remember some people will sit there to this day, you make your wife carry a knife? I'm like, well, you have a knife on your watch. Yep. Now here, they'll sit there and go, so your wife has a knife. I hate this. And I'll walk you through it, people. But they'll just take the knife away from her, and now they have a knife too.
Oh, that's what they'll say. Right?
Oh, yeah, they do say that.
I'm like, you know what? That does make sense. I hear what you're talking about. You have 2 athletes, 2 martial arts, 2 fighters going at it. You have one who is drastically physically superior than the other one. This one brings out something special to try to use. And now what helps them keep that from not being taken away from them? And now the bad guy has more weapons on his side. I hear you.
That's why he says carry more than one.
Joe, let's break it down. The average woman, if my wife is in a physical altercation with a man, what are the chances of how it's going to occur? Well, according to FBI statistics, most likely they're going to grab her. They're picking her up. They're grabbing her by the waist, picking her up, trying to take her off somewhere. If you think about most rape victims, didn't start off with, hey, bitch, and go fisticuffs and square up with them and throw in a right hand to knock her out, right?
Yeah.
They're grabbing,
Yeah.
right? Okay, cool. So that's the altercation that most likely is going to occur, right?
Which is funny because you wouldn't grab a man
No.
necessarily.
That's why you have to run through this. What realistically is going to happen?
Yeah.
What is the difference between what she's going to have to deal with and what I'm going to have to deal with? So, and a child is more like a woman in that sense.
Sure,
If
and
my
they would grab a kid,
they're not going to
right.
square up with my 9-year-old,
Right,
right?
right,
They're going
right.
to probably grab my kid,
Right.
and they're going to try to take him off somewhere else into a vehicle
Right.
and take him off to another site, right? So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and play a game here. I tell people, go ahead, play a game with your wife. Get a marker. Your wife can have the marker, put it on her waist. Now I want you to grab your wife, pick her up, and move her from 10 feet away. You put her from point A to point B. And let's see how much marker you cannot get on you. I'm pretty sure, even as good of a martial artist as I
Like
am,
impossible.
if I grabbed my wife, and especially if I'm not aware that she had a knife on her,
Right.
how much ink can she put on me? And then now you give that person some training and understanding, a little bit of biology. Hey, so what I want you to do is put the marker and ink up the inside of their legs as much as possible
Oh, yeah.
around their groin area.
Where
'Cause you
the
ever see-
artery is, yeah.
femoral artery is about the size of a nickel,
Yeah.
right? How fast does it? If I had a bucket right now and I put 5 to 8 pints of water in there,
Yeah.
and I put a nickel-sized hole in there, how long before that water is empty? And it doesn't have to fully empty for a person to lose enough blood that the blood pressure drops so low that they lose consciousness and not able to fight back. They're not able to be a threat to you anymore and try to hurt you. That's why I enact the things I do. And I feel like so many people with martial arts, they don't, like your buddy, sit there and go, hey, I do Taekwondo or this. I'm like, okay, but if you're not applying it, you can't apply it full blast in the cage, or excuse me, in the gym dojo. There has to be a certain amount of, okay, we got to make sure we don't kill each other here. But how close can I get to realistic, and what attributes can I bring, and what am I going to train that I can do that I'll be able to apply that have actual real effect and real leverage for me? They're going to help me win this altercation. And too many people just don't really think about what they're training for, or what they're going to look at. Like, hey, like really, like, so like a woman has a knife right now. My wife had a knife on her, and I try to grab her. I'm probably going to get hurt bad.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it. And knife wounds are brutal.
Higher percentage of death than even shooting.
Yeah, they're brutal. In fact, as you said, it's more of an intimate type of thing, though. Isn't it? A knife, you've got to...
Yeah, we would spoke about that knife.
I think you could shoot someone almost easier than knifing. I mean...
I think the average person, yes. The average person would have an easier time probably shooting somebody than they would stabbing somebody.
But as a defense, like... You wouldn't hesitate, Jennifer, obviously, because you know someone's intent. If they're trying to
here's the
rape
thing,
you or
though.
do something to you.
Me standing in front of you,
Yeah.
if I sit there and told my wife, hey, stab that bad guy, and he's in front of you, even if you know he's a bad guy and he has ill intent,
Yeah.
to sit there and poke somebody, that's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But I understand that.
Yeah.
But if I grabbed you and you're freaking out and I'm dragging you away from the store,
Sure,
out into the parking lot,
Absolutely.
a little easier for you now to go ahead and sit there and now self-preservation.
Well, because you're
get
in
poked.
survival mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to put some holes in them.
Yeah. And it's pretty nasty, too. The knife wounds, they can be the worst. I mean,
Absolutely.
they could be...
The infection in them. Yep.
You
Like I
can
said,
survive a lot of bullet wounds depending on where it's hit, obviously.
Right.
But a lot of times when someone shoots, they'll miss organs all the time. I mean, you're not going to hit...
No, and
necessarily-
again, if you look at it as far as when people are in shootings, if you're in a knife attack, it has a higher percentage of mortality than gunshot wounds.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, you have infections. You have,
Yeah.
again, the blade. It has to
Yeah.
have the surface area and the type of wounds and wound
Yeah.
channels that it opens up. That's going to be nasty.
Yeah.
And that's the only aspect of it that sometimes worries me is that, again, the few knives I have on me for self-defense to go ahead and maintain space. You know, if I get jumped by a group of guys, that's what I'm going for. That's why I carry knives the way I do. It's like, oh, if I get a pile of guys, I've been there. If I get 5 to 10 guys jump on my ass and they're going to try to curb stomp me, they're not holding down if I have a knife on me. That's going to be a hard.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I'm like, it's like, oh,
'Cause
hold
you
me
could
down.
get someone off with a knife.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you're going to be, oh my God, why do I feel so woozy? You know what I mean? I'm going to poke you. And so that's what blades are for, so to maintain space, so then I can get to a firearm. And then my handgun is to get to my rifle, you know? There's a thought process behind this of, escalation of violence, But I feel sometimes, I always wondered this, and then this is people at home can wonder this. You're in the jury, you're 12 people, and someone goes, hey, I defended myself, I stabbed the bad guy. I think for whatever reason, my intuition tells me that the average juror, your average U.S. citizen, is going to look at somebody who stabbed somebody in self-defense a little differently than they're going to look at somebody who shot somebody in self-defense.
Because you hear that people, because it's your right to bear arms, so they're thinking guns. They don't think of a knife.
I think
like
it's more
that.
socially acceptable to shoot somebody than to stab somebody.
Isn't that crazy though? I
Yeah.
mean, when you think about it, it's actually a knife. You would Although a knife does seem more, it could be more aggressive or more, depending on how it is. I know what you're saying, though. A jury might think, because you could almost picture yourself if you had to shoot someone, but the actual physical act of taking the knife and plunging it into someone, it feels
Yeah, because you're
different.
touching them, you're feeling them.
And
you're
if you
on-
could, if like in a court, if the plaintiff attorney, the district attorney, could tell the jury this is what it would take to stab someone, if they can make you believe that mind frame is crazy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like this person, they didn't
Yeah.
have to do what they did. They wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And so that's why we start drawing lines
Yeah.
of what was required of you to defend yourself and what was actually you
Yeah.
not becoming the assailant. You were the bad guy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. And I think that when I first started thinking about that was how many people go to autograph signings, right? They meet a UFC fighter, and that fighter has knocked people out in front of them. So he's put his hand on someone else's head,
Yeah.
and they lost consciousness and fell down. And they don't think that's crazy. They don't sit there and go, oh my God, you knocked someone out? Like, they don't flip out about that. They're actually excited.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've broken people's arms blows people's minds. And I'm like, really? That's way less actually detrimental to someone's health than a concussion. You knock someone out, you can end their career. You can do some damage. I mean, we've seen what some of the guys in the NFL look like. I think that's way worse to do to somebody than to break their arm. But the fact of holding on to somebody and putting a leverage and applying a brake, that blows people's minds.
Well, that's funny you say that, because that's my friend's question.
I was going to say, he wanted to ask about
this
that.
This is great, and it was about that. So, first of all, he said you have a record, obviously, in the UFC for breaking the most bones, and this question was a simple. Do you think it's perfect technique that makes it used so destructive? What is it that you're able to do that versus someone else, or are you just psycho?
No, it's actually
Both.
just these are going to be different, but it just shows how mindset has an effect on your performance. If you're racing somebody and you're both of about the same amount of speed, and this person runs to the line and you run through the line, typically the person who runs through the line, if they're of almost comparable speed, you could even maybe be a step slower than the guy. But because your mindset is to be running through the line, that means by the time you hit the line, you're still at full speed. The other person, because they're running to the line, the finish line, they actually kind of slow down a little bit because they're just running to the finish line. Mm-hmm. This shows that a different mindset can have an impact on how you perform a technique. And that's just running in a straight line. So when I train, when I submit people, I don't have the mindset that my submission is the end all. My submission is to damage that joint. We're fighting, and now we're like in a car race, and I could take your wheel off. Now you have one less wheel to continue on in the race. Now, if all of a sudden you pull over and you quit the race, great. That wasn't my intentions, though. Now, if that's how it ends up, nice. So when I submit people, when I look for a submission, my submissions are, especially to the joints, are my way of just disabling parts of your body before I can get to your throat. Because my end-all mindset is, again, which I think should be almost anybody who's a martial artist, because the way the human body is built, it's the most effective way for me to incapacitate somebody. So if I need to put them to sleep and have the greatest guarantee of making them of no longer a threat to me or to anybody around me, I want you to lose consciousness. So cutting the blood off to the brain, going for the throat is the easiest and most effective and most, be able to duplicate this process over and over again, highest guarantee. So again, when I've armbarred somebody, I wasn't sitting there going, hey, say uncle, so you quit the fight. In my brain, I'm locking up and I'm driving my hips forward is to break your arm so that when I throw your arm off to the side, now I can go for your neck and now I don't have to deal with one more arm. Even when
I'm just laughing because I know what people are thinking, because he's so matter of fact, but that's exactly how he thinks. It's like, but I know people are like, he's just so barbaric. Like, it's just
that's what
crazy.
they should be for. They make too much of a game. People have made martial arts, that aspect of our training, where it was, hey, you tap because your arm's about to get broken and you're letting me know as your training partner to stop, hey, and save my arm. It was not supposed to be my responsibility as the person inflicting the arm bar because I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing the technique properly.
Bella's not going to have any opponents, babe. No one's going to want to fight her.
So,
like, this is Bella Mears head coach right here.
But that's why I've inflicted more broken bones, I feel, than other athletes, is because I remember one time seeing,
He's so matter of fact.
George St. Pierre, for example. He had, I can't tell you how many times I see him straighten people's arms, and then he stops. He stops before they even tap.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to make it hurt, so you cry uncle. And that's just the way he trains and his mindset.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't carry over to a street fight at all, to a real situation. That's way too sportive now.
Well, let me ask you a question a different way then. So your opponent, do they know, like,
I
was
think
it
they all
Nagaro?
know.
Yeah.
I think they all know now.
Well, they know now, but do they know,
Sorry.
like, they can't get out of it, so they know they have to tap, or is it like it's too late?
But Nogueira didn't tap.
Right.
Wait, he didn't,
I've
right?
always given people enough time to tap.
Oh, so you're not a complete barbarian.
No, I'm not. In fact, actually, here's the part where
With Brock, you did that.
where I draw the line between me and
I tell him all the time, like, I wish you would have just ripped it off.
No, that.
there's been a few athletes out there that very obvious they're trying to hurt you
Yeah.
even after you've said stop. And I
Yeah.
find that dishonorable because we're not in a street fight.
Yeah.
We're in a professional sanctioned bout. We're in practice. That's how I look at cage fights. I really look at the UFC as practice.
Yeah.
To me, it's just a higher level, a more glorified version of sparring.
Yeah.
It really is. It's not for real because there's a referee there. And if I say stop, you're going to stop, right? That's not a real fight. So that being said, there are guys out there, and I'm not going to throw them out. People probably know who they are.
I will.
That have grabbed submissions.
Yeah.
And then their opponent is tapping.
Yeah, I know. They got kicked to the UFC.
And the
too.
referee is jumping on them and almost
Yeah.
having to fight them to get them off. Like, that's an asshole move.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Because this, again,
But that was a psycho. That guy.
right.
The-
If you
yeah.
watch me, there's not one fight I've ever been in that I've inflicted a submission on somebody that once my opponent started tapping, that I continued to apply pressure on the hold.
Yeah.
So whether it was a choke or whether
She
it was
is
an
right. Though.
armbar.
Nogueira he didn't tap.
Well, no, that's why you see me and I'm looking up at her as I'm applying pressure. I'm not feeling the tap. And because, to finish off what I'm saying, what I would do throughout my whole career, and I would apply pressure. If I felt you tap, that doesn't mean that I'm done, because if the referee doesn't see it and I let it go,
And now they're still.
we're still fighting.
Right.
So the nature of the beast. So what I do is that I just stop applying pressure. So I freeze. I literally will stop.
Yeah.
You're tapping? Okay, cool. You acknowledge that I won. I won't hurt you. I'm not going to apply more pressure. I'm not going to let you go. But you're not going to get hurt if I don't apply more pressure.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the referee now to go, Frank, it's over with. And I'm like, seriously, the minute you sit there and go, done, I let go. I'm not trying to inflict damage.
Well,
once you acknowledge that I have you, then we're good.
I don't know if you always let go. So the other question, during the first fight with Brock, did you release the pressure when he felt when you felt him tap?
Yes. I didn't release pressure. I stopped
You held it.
applying
Yeah.
pressure.
Oh, it said, or did you wait for the ref to let it go? But you
I
knew
did wait
you
for the
had.
ref. That's why you see me looking for the ref.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again,
Yeah, if you watch that fight,
me,
you do.
I'm
You see,
looking for
like,
the
he
referee.
has his,
I'm like, yo, this
and
guy's-
he looks up, like he looks up at him.
But let
Yeah.
me say that, I mean, Brock was out there for blood to begin. He was psycho anyway.
Absolutely.
So he would have deserved whatever anyway.
I wish Frank would have
I mean,
just ripped
he
it
clocked
off.
you in the head, in the back of the head, and you know what's funny too?
You know what, though? To take a quote from my wife,
Yeah.
your conduct and how you consider how you are, your level of honor and how you act, it has no bearing upon my honor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just because you're dishonorable doesn't mean I'm dishonorable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even if we have to do war, we have to fight each other, I can maintain my honor, and it's not indicative upon how you act. And
He gets that from me.
I did. I get it. My
Yeah.
wife, 100%. If we have, what time is it?
Yeah, we got 1 minute.
we're
We'll start
fine.
wrap it up. Yeah, we're good till hour 10. Yeah.
I'll tell a story about my wife, the difference, because here's about warrior and soldier shit, right? One time we had a mutual friend, and one of her, a very close friend of hers, had a
16 years.
had a breakup, that there was a squabble that happened between the ladies, and they had a falling out, and it was bad, you know. Many months later, we're sitting in my front room, and there was another one of our friends is there with their friend, and you know, there's 4 or 5 of us hanging out in the room, and then all of a sudden, someone goes, "Oh yeah, so and so. Oh yeah, I was just at their bar," and they were basically, this person was airing out all the dirty things they knew about me through Jennifer, about our relationship, because she was the other girl. And you can only imagine, anybody at home, if your best friend probably knows all the bad shit that you've had in a 20+ year relationship, you know, where the dead bodies are buried. So I'm hearing them repeat the stories, and obviously they're telling the truth, because the stories they're repeating are true stories. They happen. And I'm embarrassed, and I'm more embarrassed even for my wife. I'm getting angry, and I'm sitting there. So to this point, and still, that's how I fight to no point. You know, I feel if we say, hey, no kicking to the balls, no problem. But if you start kicking me in the balls, I feel I'm going to kick you back in the balls now. Hey, man, like you crossed first. I'm crossing too.
It's
You know,
like,
it's
if
game
you
theory.
screw me over, now I'm screwing you
gonna
over.
Treat
All
you
bets are off.
exactly how you treat me. Right? So if you're willing to go to an 8, I'll go to an 8. I won't go to a 9. But if you go to 8, I'll go to 8. You go to 9, I go to 9. You go to 10, I go to 10. You want to drop it back down to a 7, I'll even go back down to a 7 now, you know? But my wife's not that way. She's like, and that to me was, so the repeating stories, and I'm getting angry, and I'm upset, and I'm a petty person. So in my mind, what I could do to get revenge
Oh my God, so
was I'm sitting there going, how dumb. I know shit about you guys, right? Like, you and your husband have been together for as long as we've been together. You have skeletons in your closet that are not the shit that I've done, which a lot of people go, oh my God, he did what? You know, or you did what? So I got ready to go ahead and start. I'm like, oh yeah? So funny, she's so high, you know, holier than thou. Let me tell you something. My wife slapped me on the chest, that kind of thing. And now I'm kind of stunned. I'm like looking at her like, what? She goes, don't you dare. I'm like, don't I dare? What? You hear your whole friendship code of honor. This person blew that shit, so now all bets are off.
Her code of honor.
Her code,
her friendship and code of honor.
And that's what my wife said. She goes, just because she's a shitty friend and has no honor doesn't mean I'm a shitty friend and have no honor. I was like, whoa, so you're going to be honorable even though they're not? Yeah, because because then I'm a hypocrite. I will stay a true friend even when they're not a friend to me. I'm like, look, now I'm like, I'm both impressed in awe. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I'm not that person.
I'm not the person either.
No, I'm not that person
either.
But I was very impressed. I'm like, I told her afterwards, like when everybody left, I'm like, man, that's like some samurai shit.
She's
You know
a
what I mean?
smart chick. Yeah.
That's like some crazy stuff that like you'll adhere to your own detriment. Most people, I mean, you know.
Well, because for me, I just feel like you're loyal or you're not loyal. I'm loyal.
I know.
So,
but I know Jennifer enough. I know her just long enough to know, and I've been around long enough to know, and it's not even a long time. She will dump you though if you're a piece of shit of a person.
She
will not.
I never spoke to her. 16 years.
See, there you
never
go.
spoke to her again.
So
you're
she
dead
does
to
have
me.
her moral code of but
see that,
but
she doesn't.
I
disrespect.
stayed my friendship. I stayed loyal, but I can't have you in my life.
I understand. Yeah.
Like
And
you're
you'll do
done.
that, yeah.
And you get one chance. I mean, you're like, it's done. I'll never look back. It sucks. It hurts.
Yeah.
But I'm never looking back.
I'm kind of like that.
And
too,
especially when you betrayed my husband, you know what I mean? Like he's in the spotlight, like to tell his business stuff that is hurtful. It was hurtful stuff to me anyways, which was kind of crazy. Like you're not making, like you're making him look bad, but just
like some mafia shit.
It was
You're
just
like, hey,
too much.
So Bob ratted on you, yeah? So you're doing 20 years for Bob, yeah? Are you gonna rat on him? No. I'm not a rat. What? You know what I mean? Like that's impressive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that most people I don't think would adhere to that. I think most would be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you. Even if it doesn't help them out and relieve time off their time.
Yeah.
They're still going, you know what? Fuck you. You're coming with me, asshole. You gonna be a scumbag?
Frank wouldn't rat on them either, but somehow they wound up dead in prison.
Oh, he would. Frank is so petty. Oh my God, he's the most pettiest besides my daughter Bella. The most pettiest person. Those two, Frank and Bella, are queen and king petty. So Frank, if you screw him over and he pisses you off, he has to get revenge. Like he has to. He has to get revenge.
I do.
Well, we'll give our socials.
Yeah,
we have to wrap it up.
Newsletter about that. So Mike, you just lead it off.
So you guys, if you want to see my show anytime, check out MikeHammerShow.com and just follow me on Official Hammer on all my social medias. So come and see me.
You have to see a show. It's amazing. We'll be there Saturday. You can follow me on Mrs._Mir.
Or look up Jennifer Mir.
Or
It'll
look
show
up
up
Jennifer.
right
Oh,
away.
does it? I don't know.
And
Mrs.
then,
_Mir Jennifer.
On
Mir.
Instagram, I'm the Frank
The.
Mir. And then actually pretty soon we'll once this starts gaining more momentum, look forward to watching our show. We're gonna start doing a marriage with the Mirs. So
I'm excited about
more
that.
press, lean into our relationship a little bit more.
He just sighs. He's like,
He's like, that is going to be work.
maybe we should have our therapist with us when we do it. We have to have him as a guest one time on the show, though,
Or a
for
referee.
sure. We have to. He's amazing. Yeah.
Thanks, you
Anyways,
guys.
hey, no,
Okay.
hey, awesome guys. Thank you so much for being here. And see you on the next
See you
show.
next week. Yeah.
See you next week. Mind of Mir.